welcome back. Today is Tuesday, June 19th, and I'm feeling just a little bit under the weather today. I was supposed to record this podcast episode yesterday, and I just wasn't feeling up for it, so I postponed it, and I'm glad I did that because I feel better today than I did yesterday, but I'm drinking some turmeric chai today, and this stuff is actually really wonderful. It's got some warming spices like, let's see, cinnamon, ginger, turmeric obviously, cardamom, it's got fennel, cloves. It has this like kick of cayenne pepper that hits you kind of after you take your sip, which pairs really nicely with the honey that I put in. And so I think it's going to help me get through this because for some reason I just feel a little bit off. I think it's because on Father's Day, which was on Sunday, my husband and my daughter and I went and visited with my dad and my stepmom, and they took us out on the boat. They live really close to Detroit Lake, so every once in a while we go out on the boat and just kind of putter around out there with them. We sometimes do a little like skiing or something like that, but anyway, we were just out there for like 3 or 4 hours, but it was enough to completely wipe me out. Like, I was really tired afterwards. The forecast was saying it was supposed to be like 80 to 90 degrees and partially cloudy. Well, it was more like 70 degrees, 70 to 80 degrees. And while we were out there, we were noticing that the clouds were getting really dark, and we kept looking at our phones, checking the forecast to see if anything had changed, and it didn't say anything had changed, but pretty soon we started seeing raindrops all around us, which is really cool when you're in the middle of a lake and you see rain. That's really cool. But then the raindrops, the like light sprinkly raindrops, started turning into like downpour, and there was a little hail, and I'm just glad that my dad and stepmom have a boat that has like a canopy thing, so we were able to kind of squish under there, and I thought it was all very exciting. And then the rain kind of let up a little bit, and we were like, well, we could stay out, but maybe we should go back in because it doesn't seem like the clouds are going to let up anytime soon. So we were only out there for 3 or 4 hours, and on the way back the thunder and lightning started, and so we were like, okay, that was a good choice. And then after the storm had been going on for like half an hour, then all of the Weather Channel apps and everything updated and said, it's going to be stormy for the next few hours. So we're like, okay. But yeah, something about being out there just really wiped me out. And my husband too, we both, yesterday we were like, definitely feeling a lot better today. And I really wanted to get this episode out as soon as possible, really, because I want to announce the winner of Making Stories Breeze. So I am going to go ahead and insert the clip for that right now. Okay, we are picking the winner for the issue of Making Stories Breeze. I'm going to enter the URL, hit the search button. We have 290 unique comments. Hit start, and the winner is Clementine Coelis. Thank you for another very nice podcast. I would probably start knitting Solano right away, as I love the V-neck shape on the back. All right, Clementine, I will get in touch with you. I will reply to your comment on YouTube, and we will get your information out to the Making Stories folk, and they will send you your issue. Congratulations to the winner. I think you're going to really enjoy this whole thing. I think it's perfect for this time of year, and all of the patterns are so beautiful. I am thinking that this shawl might be one of my next knits, the Oroshi shawl. And I know I talked about this a little bit in the last episode. I was kind of flipping through and showing some of the patterns in here that I really like. To be honest, I like them all. But this shawl just seems so perfect for this time of year. And I find myself lately turning to shawls for just that extra layer. I don't want to get like a whole sweater. I want to just like grab something that I can kind of wrap around and take on and off as needed. So I'm all about shawls right now. So yeah, again, congratulations to the winner. What else? So I had my shop update on June 3rd, and this time I felt like I was a little bit more prepared for everything that was going to be involved. I had more inventory. I was able to sort of streamline everything, and I planned the update on a day where my husband would have the next day off so he could help me with all the shipping stuff. Yeah, I felt like it went really well, and I'm still just having a whole lot of fun with the whole natural dyeing thing. So I don't have like a new finished object for you this week, but I do have an old project that I finished in the past that needed some tweaking, and that is my Irish Shrug by Melody Hoffman. If you remember, the problem that I had with this shrug was that it was too long. Like I knit, you start in the center and you knit both sides out. I was trying to factor in the fact that I not only have just naturally broad shoulders, but I also tend to carry a lot of my like extra plus size weight in my arms. And so I thought, okay, well, if I knit both of the panels a little bit longer than the pattern calls for, because I was knitting size 2, but I thought if I knit them the length of the third size, I thought it would just work better for me. But what ended up happening was when I went to block the piece, the panels went even further. Like it didn't block this way, it blocked this way if you're looking at the panels like this. So it gave both panels a little bit more length, which meant that the places where the you connect for the arms were like really far out, and it just wasn't hugging me. It was like falling off, and it was just too big. So what I did was I ripped out the edging, and I ripped out the armholes, and I just brought it back to where it was the two panels connected, and I ripped back both panels by about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, so they are actually now more like the length for size 1 or size 2. And I reconnected everything and put the edging on, and I did something a little bit different than the pattern calls for with regards to decreasing when you do the overall edging around the whole thing. I found that I needed a little bit more of a grip on the top part than the bottom part. So I snuck in another round of decreases just from the top to the arm, and then from this top to this arm. And I left the bottom decreases as written by the pattern. And then just added another row of decreases for the top part so it would hug my shoulders a little better. Still not quite perfect, but I feel like it definitely is something that I can wear now, and I really like it. I think that I'm happy enough with the way that this is that I'm gonna leave it. So with the extra decreases on the top, it just made it so it kind of hugs my shoulders a little bit better. And then because I didn't decrease on the bottom kind of flows out. And I think it's going to benefit from another really good block, because I remember when I made it the first time, I blocked it pretty hard, and now I think I want to just kind of block it and let it fall how it wants to fall, so it's a little bit more relaxed. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my air conditioning just kicked on, and I went to go turn it off and it still hasn't turned off yet, so maybe I'll wait till it turns off before I keep going. So you may recall in the last episode that I am working on a pattern from the Breeze Making Stories issue. It's the Norte Cardigan, and I am co-hosting a little mini knit along for this sweater that is ending in just a few days, really. It's ending on June 30th. And to be honest with you, I didn't expect to be as far along with this as I am, because this is the time of year where I'm usually out in the garden or processing garden food, or I am out adventuring with my family. But up until last weekend, when the weather shifted, it's now like 90 degrees outside right now. Before then, it was overcast and cloudy and like probably mid 60s and lots of rain and stuff. So I was able to get a lot more done on this piece than I anticipated, and I just actually finished the body this weekend. And I really love how the twisted rib looks in this marled yarn. I think it's so pretty. And the yarn itself, which is Vanna Wool, I think. It's rustic, but it is so soft. I really, really like this yarn. I would work with this again, for sure. It's perfect for this pattern, I think. So I just transferred the stitches for one sleeve onto my needles, and that's all I've gotten so far as the sleeves go. But I'm gonna work on this tonight and get one of the sleeves knocked out, hopefully. Well, let's be real. I'm gonna be editing this video tonight. I would like to say that I will be done with this cardigan by the time the knit along is done on the 30th, but I think if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna have to work really hard. And I don't know if I want to work that hard this week, because tomorrow's my birthday and I just want to go to the beach and have some fun with my family. But it's fine, because you don't even have to finish the projects for the knit along to be kind of like part of the knit along. They didn't specify that you need to actually finish your project. In fact, they said that it was fine if you didn't. So I like that. I like no pressure, things like that. I don't like to be in a rush, because I put way too much pressure on myself when I do that. So it's been really nice to kind of work on this and to know that it's not the end of the world if I don't finish it. And I really am going to be so happy that I have this piece when the weather gets cool. I cannot wait to wear it. So last week I shared on Instagram that I was going to be experimenting around with making a dye bath from rose petals that we have growing in our front yard. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really expecting much, because the most of the roses we have out front are a really, really pale shade of pink. We have one bush that is a dark pink, and then we have a different variety of rose that's sort of a red pink. But I was just curious, and honestly, sometimes when I'm dyeing yarn, I'm not so concerned about the color, because I've been kind of interested in the sort of medicinal or healing properties that can come from dyeing fabrics with, like herbs and different plants and things. So I don't necessarily always dye, just for color. Like, it's sometimes okay with me if it doesn't produce much. So, but anyway, the reason that I wanted to experiment around with the roses is because in the past I've made rose jam, and when you first put the rose petals and everything in the pot, they are, they're beautiful color. But as the heat sort of processes everything, and the petals begin to wilt, everything kind of loses its color and turns this sort of beigey brown until you add the lemon juice, and then it kind of brightens back up again. So I thought, well, what if I try to do something similar with a rose dye bath, and then I add like vinegar, maybe it's a pH thing. So I just decided to give it a shot, and everybody was really curious about what was going to happen. So I thought I would go ahead and share. So I didn't measure out the amount of petals or anything. I just filled the pot about halfway, and then I covered it with water, and then I turned it on low, and I let the roses kind of do their thing in there for a few hours, and then I strained out the petals, and I added some vinegar, and you could see that there was quite a bit of color in the dye bath, which I don't think I got any footage of. And then I added my wool, and I used a couple skeins of superwash merino that I had in my stash, and I got beige, but it's like a kind of a really pretty yellow beige. And it's actually a lot richer than I was expecting. And sometimes if you catch the light right, you'll see like hints of pinks and golds. I think I'm actually just going to keep this as is and turn it into a shawl for myself because I think it's really pretty. And I've been on kind of a yellow kick lately. So like I really want to make a yellow cardigan for both me and my daughter. So that was a really fun experiment, and I think that it would be really fun to dye like a silk blend with rose petals and see what happens there. I may try it on 100% non-superwash, but I wouldn't expect much from that because I feel like this is so subtle. Someone commented in the last video that they are having trouble kind of seeing the color, and then asked if I would up the exposure. And I think that the best way to kind of show you a close-up of this color is to just maybe take it outside and film some close-ups and add it to the top, because if I up the exposure with this, I think with my camera setup, when you overexpose, it doesn't show you more color, like it just removes all the depth, and part of the magic of natural dyeing is seeing the depth. And like this isn't even remotely anything what I'm seeing with my eye, so I'm trying to actually show you what I'm seeing. Like I'm trying to make sure that it looks pretty close, and this looks pretty close. Like this is the lighting that I have in my room, and I just wanted to let you know why I tend to not overexpose, because I just want you to see accurately. So I will try to do a close-up of this and insert it into the video. And then one thing I've decided to do is, as I'm starting to work more with different bases and kind of get an idea of what I like to work with and maybe what I like to offer in the shop, I've decided to focus on making swatches, because I feel like when I am buying a yarn from a natural dyer, especially because natural dyers tend to be the ones that work with non-superwash sock yarns and different breeds and stuff, I feel like I want to see the qualities of the yarn, like how does it hold texture, how does it work up as a garment, things like that. So I've decided to kind of play around with making swatches of yarns that I think will be something that I offer in the shop later, just because I feel like that could be helpful. So one of the first yarns that I did this with is a yarn from Sestari. They say it's a 3-ply bulky. I would say it's almost even a super bulky, because I went to knit a hat that called for a bulky weight yarn and my gauge was so far off. It was actually, it's not quite the same gauge that you would get from like a Thick and Quick the Lion Brand Thick and Quick, but it's almost there. So I'm not sure that I'm gonna label this as a bulky anymore. I don't know. I guess I'll just give you the information, the gauge information, and you can kind of decide for yourself, because I think it's somewhere between a bulky and a super bulky. I made a hat with it. Oh, and it's kind of funny because this is one of the skeins from my first shop update that didn't sell. Like, I sold a few of them, but I can see why people would think that there wasn't much going on here, but this actually went through quite a transformation. And if I were to hold the natural color up to you, which I don't have right now, so maybe I can kind of give you an idea of the color. This was dyed with alder cones, and it kind of turned a yellow color. And then I modified it with iron, and it turned this sort of warm gray neutral, and I love it. I think it's really beautiful. But yeah, I can see why nobody was really into this. Just me. So I made a hat with it, and actually this will be my first time putting this on, so. Anyway, I made a hat with it just because I was kind of curious about how it would do with stitch definition. And I chose to do just a hat because in yarn that's this thick, it's basically a swatch. But I remember thinking after it was done that I thought it was going to have better stitch definition than this. So, I mean, that's not bad. It's quite loose. So this was done in a US 15. I dropped down to a US 10 and made a swatch using the exact same cable. And yeah, it does have good stitch definition. It's just funny to me that that's the same cable. How different that looks. So I really like this yarn. I think it's going to be a good sort of sturdy but soft. Like, I would say it's pretty soft. It's definitely next to skin soft. It's not like ooh soft, but it's durable and it's not itchy to me at all. So I would want to make a big old like jacket cardigan with this, and I think that I will in a month or two. But hooray for a natural dye knit along project, because that counts. And then I also made a little seed stitch swatch out of it as well, because I think that I would like to make something with this yarn with seed stitch, because I love it. That's as far as I've gotten in terms of making swatches, but I will be kind of working on that project and hopefully have it all done for the next shop update, because I think that just will give you a little bit more information about the yarn, just kind of seeing what it can do. And speaking of the natural dye knit along, it has been so incredible following along with all of your posts, both on Ravelry and on Instagram. Today I think I'm gonna show some of the projects that have been posted in the finished objects thread on Ravelry, because I want you to see like what people are able to make with these natural dyes. They're so beautiful and inspiring. And in the natural dye knit along chatter thread, people are just giving lots of tips and being very helpful, and this has been a really active knit along so far, which has been really exciting for me. I'm loving that people are as into this as I am, and I'm learning a lot. So yeah, if you are interested in joining the natural dye knit along with us, you can do so either through Ravelry or Instagram. If you're joining us on Instagram, use the hashtag naturaldyeKAL for your works in progress, and naturaldyeKALFO for your finished objects. And I will be choosing one winner from Ravelry and one winner from Instagram, at least, come September 1st. So you still have quite a while before this knit along ends if you would like to join. And you can use either yarn that you have naturally dyed yourself, or you can use yarn that you have purchased from another natural dyer. And I just want to thank those of you who have joined so far, because it has been really, really fun. So before I wrap things up today, I wanted to kind of share a couple of things that I've purchased recently. This one is not so recent. I think I purchased this about 6 months ago, but it was my first fringe bag. It was I think it was over the winter, heading into spring, and my daughter and I were spending a lot more time outside, and I just kept thinking, like, I wish I had a good bag that I could, like, loop over my wrist and just knit, so I could stand up and walk around and kind of keep an eye on her. And I've never been much of a project bag person before this. I've always just kind of used totes that I have lying around, but I decided I needed to try one of these, and I don't regret this purchase at all. This is kind of a self-contained project bag for my socks. I have two of these Chowgu Twist Mini sock kits, like little pouches. One's a 4-inch set and one's a 5-inch set, and I think this is the 4-inch set. And I just put like a little pair of scissors and a darning needle and kind of a few stitch markers and everything in here, and it's kind of its own thing, and I can take it anywhere I go. I've got like 2 pairs of socks in here that I'm working on. I'm still kind of working on my first socks, which are almost done. In fact, you probably won't see these again because they're almost done, and I need to mail them to the recipient because her birthday was a couple months ago, and I'm kind of slow on that. But yeah, this I take absolutely everywhere with me. It's probably my most durable project bag, and I don't really care if it's dirty or anything like that. So I honestly think that this is worth the investment, you know, because they're not cheap, and I am considering getting another one because I can carry about 3 pairs of socks and all the yarn comfortably in here, or I can do a sweater. Like, it's just a good size. It's nice and roomy. And I just, for some reason, have never shared that I have that. I mean, I think you've probably seen it in videos or maybe even photos, but I never actually talked about it before. I'm probably not going to put pins on here just because I feel like that kind of, for me, lowers the functionality and like being able to kind of like plop it in and rip it out of bags and stuff. So I sadly will be keeping my fringe bag pin free. This was my very first ever project bag purchased for knitting, and it is by Melissa Wasney, or she goes by Tiny Happy, and I've been following her work since I started blogging back in 2010. And yeah, her aesthetic is right up my alley as far as like prints go and stuff. I tend to be a lover of solids and neutrals, and so when it comes to prints, I am super picky, but all of her work is right up my alley. And I think she used a little stamp for these, and this is a linen fabric, and I just use this pouch for keeping my Chowgu case and my other sock set, and like another pouch that's got notions in it, a pencil, lotion, or it's not lotion, it's a lotion bar that I smashed into a tin that my friend made me, and it's really great for when your hands get dry. And a random clothespin for some reason, and a ruler. I just keep all of that in here, and that works out really well for me. So even though I bought the project bag from Melissa Wasney, I think it was well over a year ago now, it wasn't until I bought the fringe bag and started using that I realized that I was a project bag girl, and that I really just need more bags in my life. It takes me a long time to make a purchase. Like, I have to kind of mull it over and think about it, and make sure I really want to spend the money on whatever it is I'm buying. And it's not because I am hesitant to spend the money per se, it's just I am hesitant to bring things into my house that I will have to get rid of later. So I want to make sure that the things that I buy are like things that I actually want to keep and that I will use. So I kind of make myself wait before I actually will make a purchase. But it just so happens that both of these next 2 project bags I'm going to share with you became available, I think, within a week of each other and arrived like on the same day. And I love them both. And the first one is this project bag by Elizabeth Murphy. She goes by The Resilient Knitter. And I think that she upcycles shirts to make these. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously I like gray, so, but this is a small sized project bag, and it would be really good for like a hat or socks, things like that. And I really like it. And then the second one is a different style. It's a zip pouch. By Olivia of This Handmade Life. And I love this. It is nice. It stands up on its own. It's got this side pouch, and the lining material, or the lining fabric, is really beautiful. It's got, I like project bags that have a little, what do you call that? I don't know anything about sewing, you guys, so a divider, a pouch. Yeah. So I really like this one too. So I'm excited because now I have some project bags and I've been using them, and they make my life a lot easier. They make me feel organized, and I kind of have a spot on the shelf over there that you can't see, where I line them all up, and they make me very happy. So those were my project bag purchases. I'm very happy with those. And last but not least, I wanted to share this with you guys last week, but I got really tired. Talking for so long for me is like totally wipes me out. Probably means it's good for me to keep trying, but if any of you guys follow Fran from Woolen Hearted on Instagram, you'll know that she's been making bears for a long time. She makes these little handmade toy bears, and I've been following her work for a long time, and I kept thinking, okay, like, if she has a shop update, I'm gonna try to get a bear, and if I don't get it, it's okay. I won't be too disappointed, but I will be, but I won't. You know, I was like, I've been thinking, like, I really want to get one of her bears because I think that her work is so beautiful. So anyway, she put up the announcement that she was going to be having a shop update for her bears the next morning. And for whatever reason that night, like, I had trouble sleeping, and even though I set an alarm so I could wake up early, I slept through it. And so when I woke up, I was like, oh man, all of her bears are gonna be gone. I'm so bummed. And I clicked on the link for her website, and there was one bear left, and it was Billy. And Billy was the one that I had my eye on. So this is him, and he's the little one, and he's so cute. So I really like Billy. He is very much at home here with us, and I have a little spot for him on my shelf as well. But one of the really special things about this is that she includes a few little balls of her own naturally dyed yarn, so you can knit a garment for your bear. And I cannot wait to knit him a little sweater. So anyway, I just wanted to share Billy with you and talk about Fran a little bit, because she has been doing these sort of hidden podcast episodes on her Instagram. Because you know how you can do the live video feature and it'll stay on your feed for 24 hours and then it disappears. I only caught like 1.5 of her episodes, and I was bummed that I missed the other ones, but the 1.5 episode that I caught were really special. And so I was really excited when I found out that she started a YouTube channel. I think it was just this last week. So I will link her YouTube channel in the description below if you are interested in checking that out. And I recommend you do, because her work is very special and she's very soothing to listen to. She makes you want to slow down and just enjoy what you do, no matter what you do. And I will also put links in the description below for Elizabeth's shop and Olivia's, because I obviously admire their work, and they both have amazing Instagram feeds and are very inspirational ladies. So, do you like the rainbow on my forehead? I have one of those crystal things that when you get just the right time of day, the sun will hit it and it will make a rainbow in your room, and right now is that time of day. So it's just funny that I've got one kind of like on the path of my forehead, and it just wants to sit there. Oh, one final thing. Someone asked me in the questions and requests thread in the group. She says, since you are in the general area, I was wondering if you have ever gone to Black Sheep Gathering or any of the fibery events in the Pacific Northwest. I have not. I've been wanting to go to Not Another Fiber Festival, and also the, the Flock and Fiber Festival in Canby. I think that's what it's called. And every year that it takes place, I'm out of town. So I'm going to try to go this year to the Flock and Fiber Festival. I already missed the Not Another Fiber Festival, and I was sick when that was going down, so I couldn't go to that. But I haven't gone to any festivals yet, and I really want to. Okay, guys, I think that's it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out for another episode, and I will see you in the next one.